Can a nation be held accountable for what you can call as genocide? And for this, we have to look toward International Court of Justice, that is a body, or we can say top court, working under the aegis of United Nations. For the first time in a decade, it has decided to open the case for genocide against the government and administration of Myanmar. So, what is this entire case about? About this, recently, an article was published in a well-known, we can call as media house Al Jazeera. And if you look at the article published here, it is seen that ICJ has decided to open the case against the government of Myanmar. The case is related to the what you can call as the crime they have committed against the Rohingya Muslim population, who are the native resident of Myanmar as such. And this trial that is being conducted by International Court of Justice, many experts argue is going to be a landmark trial. Why? Because for the first time in the last decade, ICJ has taken a first full genocide case as such. Hearing is going to begin today, that is on Monday itself, and overall for 3 weeks continuously, both parties will have the opportunity to present their fact, to present their stand. Based on that, a verdict might be on the way. Now, this case is not only significant for Myanmar or South Asia, the verdict that will be given in this case will have significance on the entire world, because it is expected to set a global precedent when the discussion is around the genocide, especially when the government is involved in a particular country. We try to understand the background of the case. For the first time in year 2019, a small country by the name of Gambia, located in Africa, has actually presented the case, an argument of case against Myanmar because of the Rohingya crisis that began somewhere in 2017. It is believed that the Myanmarese government had put pressure on Rohingyas and to some extent were behind or were orchestrating the ethnic cleansing of this minority group as such. And because of this fear, many of the Rohingyas began to flee from the Myanmar. They were forced to move out from Myanmar and they took refuge either in Bangladesh. Some also tried to enter India. As per the UN estimate, it is believed that currently about 750,000 Rohingyas are living as a status refugee. Most of them are living in the Cox's Bazar region of Bangladesh as such. So this displacement has created one of the worst humanitarian disaster in the recent human history. So what is the allegation against Myanmar? If you look here, first of all, in the case that was presented by Gambia, it was believed that the government of Myanmar was obviously behind mass killing. They were also basically have perpetrated sexual violence, because when the government is supporting such elements who are carrying out ethnic cleansing, such kind of behavior is something that we everywhere see without any exception. Arsons in the villages, we are seeing many of the hundreds of villages of Rohingyas were burned, were basically destroyed, making them homeless in a single night, and this has resulted in their forced displacement. Now, if you look at all of these acts, this can be considered nothing short of genocide. That is what the case in ICJ says. Now, if you look at the UN and international findings, not that UN without any fact-finding mechanism or fact-finding mission has clearly taken the case. A fact-finding mission was sent by United Nations to the Myanmar. Based on this mission, when the experts, when the member of this committee talked with the people, when they inspected and investigated this entire case, it was determined that yes, indeed, government of Myanmar was a culprit of carrying out genocide. Not only that, their entire act can be considered as a crime against humanity. And after we know that in 2021, Myanmar underwent a coup where the Aung San Suu Kyi's led civilian government was toppled by military junta, since the military regime, we can say, is ruling the Myanmar. So it was found that military itself was responsible, and this entire fact-finding mechanisms, we can say, this statement was, however, rejected by the Myanmar, later on by the Myanmar's military junta itself as such. So now, if you look at the position of Myanmar, Myanmar's military clearly state that whatever they did to basically counter terrorism, because there was a large scale chances that many of the Rohingya Muslims were involved in terror related activities, and that is why they had to take preemptive action against them. They denied completely that there was any instances or cases of genocide as such. And Aung San Suu Kyi, when the fact-finding mission was sent, Aung San Suu Kyi was the Prime Minister of Myanmar, so she also has denied any such kind of allegation. Later on, we know that military coup was conducted, and even now military junta denies and has a similar stand. However, this particular decision of International Court of Justice to again retake the case has sent a glimmer of hope towards the Rohingya Muslims who are living in the refugee camps in Bangladesh. They believe that maybe this particular instance would again reaffirm their voice for demand of justice. They want someone to be held accountable for the injustices that was carried out against them, for the loss of lives they have witnessed of their dear and near, and they believe that this will also trigger a hope for repatriation, because most of these people, refugees who are living in the Myanmar, in the Bangladesh, for example, they want to return back to Myanmar, but they want that anyone should be held accountable so that again they will not have to suffer and go through the same problem, same fate as such. So overall, most of these migrants, we can say forced displaced refugees even, they have been facing psychological trauma. So maybe this case might give them certain closure. Now, if you look at the significance of this case, there is going to be a significant legal and institutional precedent set by this particular case. For example, Genocide Convention is something that UN has signed, and under this, if a verdict is given, it would further send a message to other regimes also in different part of the world that if you carry out such kind of crimes against humanity, your action will not go unpunished. And also we have to understand the accountability will not be fixed to a particular actor, a particular individual, but the entire state machinery can be found accountable here and can be charged with the crimes against humanity. Plus, also, it is believed that ICJ, when it will come up with the verdict, it will provide some mechanism to carry out the remedy against the injustices meted out to the Rohingya refugees, and also legal precedent from the perspective of the standard of evidences that would be presented in the court to prove that whether crime was conducted or not, whether genocide was conducted or not, that can be of a high value here. Now, as far as the current military leader of Myanmar is concerned, he is also facing a parallel international proceeding. We know that we have other code called as International Criminal Court, and as per ICC, Min Aung Hlaing, arrest warrant has been issued against him because it is believed that he has committed crimes such as deportation and persecution of people, especially the citizens of Myanmar, simply on the basis of ethnicity as such. And this jurisdiction, however, is accepted by the National Unity Government also. This is a quite drastic change you would see in the stand of the opposition parties. When Aung San Suu Kyi was leading the government, his political, we can say, party members, the coalition party members, they also were towing the line of Aung San Suu Kyi. They stated that no, Myanmar government had nothing to do with the persecution and genocide against Rohingyas. But now, since military has carried out coup and has taken the control of the countries, many of the opposition party members, civilian party members, we can say that they collectively refer them themselves by National Unity Government. They have accepted the jurisdiction of ICJ and they have withdrawn all the objections they had before against the UN's action in Myanmar as such, UN's report on the genocidal occurrences in Myanmar as such. And the reason is simple, because they want military of the Myanmar to be held accountable, so that again there is a possibility for the civilian government to take power back in this case for Myanmar. Now we know that this particular case is going to have broader implications, because we are seeing similar kind of discussion taking place around Gaza, because many of the countries and people, expert scholar, believe that similar kind of instances we have seen on Gaza itself. In Gaza also, the actions of Israel can be equated with the genocide as such, and thus such case can set a precedent, and similar way we can see proceeding being done against Israel also. Not only that, it will also set a norms and rule for the international justice, and also it will be a pivotal for the enforcement of human rights as such, no matter where a particular individual is living. Overall, it can also send a message that impunity that rulers, leaders all across the world have enjoyed without any fear of consequences, that might change soon, and it would give rise to a discussion or at least orchestration of a global accountability framework. But again, these all things can only be possible if a certain verdict or favorable verdict is given by International Court of Justice. Not only the verdict is given, but also to some extent it is enforced. But who will enforce the verdict? Who will punish the guilty in Myanmar? That's the million-dollar question. And for the answer of that, we'll have to wait, watch, and see. So that's all for this particular video. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with fellow friends, as well as subscribe to the channel for more successful content. Thank you very much.